Oric Consulting presents the Oracle Podcast with Anton Marshall. Hello and welcome to the Oracle Podcast. I'm Anton Marshall. Today we are on the line to Mr. Paul Blom, who is the proprietor and owner and creator and one half of the very important team that puts together the Sound on Screen Music Film Festival, which is an annual festival that happens here in Cape Town, so far only at the LABIA Cinema Complex, which is of course in Gardenton, Cape Town. Hello, Paul. How are you doing today?
Hey, cool. Thanks yourself, man.
Very, very well, thank you. Paul, let's start at the beginning here. Putting together a festival of any sort must be a massive task. Tell us a little bit about how the Sound on Screen Festival came into being and how it's gotten to the point that we are now.
Yeah, I mean, well, initially when we started with our film festivals, it was in 2004. We started planning our first horror fest over Halloween. So the first one was in 2005. And from there, we started getting movies that weren't exactly horror, but were still crazy. So from there, we created the X-Fest Film Festival. And within that, our second X-Fest, we created an extreme music version of the X-Fest, with extreme music, a film festival with documentaries from a docu on thrash metal and one on black metal in Norway. We did screened G.G. Allen documentary. There was all kind of crazy, hectic music, but then we thought, we might as well just not exactly tone it down, but just expand it to, incorporate all kinds of music-related film and documentaries and concert films, anything that's music-related that you can see on the screen. So from there, we created the Sound on Screen Film Festival, and yeah, it's our sixth one now. But besides the LABIA, we actually partner up with the Bioscope in Johannesburg, with all the festivals that we do, and then they often screen. They either screen all of them or they just pick a few that they can fit into their schedule, and they're going to do it again this year as well. So it'll be on the same weekend, the 31st of July to the 2nd of August.
Fantastic. Now you guys managed to get some pretty interesting films and from all over the world. Tell us about some of the highlights in past years about some of the films that you've personally been very sort of chuffed to get into the festival.
We were very happy to get It Might Get Loud, that guitar documentary with is it The Edge and Jimmy Page and Jack Black.
Jack Black. That's right.
That was very cool, and because that kind of just went straight to DVD, and no one got to see it in the cinema. Just like many movies, it just you expect it to come to be released in theater, but then they just go straight to DVD. So we were happy to get that one. It's not always easy finding it's easy to find them, but to find the right people to give you screening rights, that's the big mission. So yeah, we often look for stuff in particular, or we come across something, then we try and source it. But then often with all of our festivals, it's just when the filmmakers go through an agency. These guys must try and make as much money from the movie as possible, so they charge you like $1,000 or 1,000 euros per screening, which is just not really possible for us unless it's something that will pack it out six shows in a row, and we usually just do about one screening per movie because we can't really block up the LABIA Theatre's other schedule as well. So yeah, it's what other highlights have there been? Oh man, the G.G. Allen one I really enjoyed because it's just so nuts. You know who G.G. Allen is. The Get Thrashed I really enjoyed. I can watch that about once a year because it's got all my favorite thrash bands from the 80s in there. Man,
so many, huh?
It is, yeah.
Over 6 years, yeah. Okay, so having said that, then coming to this year. We're 2 or 3 weeks away from it now. What are some of the films that you're excited about coming out this year?
Well, I mean, if we're going a nice, very varied bunch again, we try to kind of just spread it out so it's not just rock or something like that. We've, I guess, I'll just go down the list. We thought, well, actually, this only happened this week. We had a bit of a brainstorm and thought, since Gogol Bordello's playing at One Night in the City and at Opikopi, I contacted the Opikopi guys to see if they can check with the band's management if we'd be able to screen their documentary non-stop. And they got back to us pretty quickly and said, yeah, no, that'll be cool. So it's a week before they play live, you can check out this documentary on them, which is quite crazy and
Fantastic.
exciting and,
Yeah.
and energetic and mad. So I mean, people who actually don't know them can all, it's a cool way to then go check this docu to see what they're in for when they go watch the show the week after. Um, and then another 80s favorite, Twisted Sister. Most
Yeah.
most of
Yeah.
us will remember them. The movie's called Twisted Effing Sister. No, sorry, We Are Twisted Effing Sister. That's how Dee Snider usually announced them on stage. They were quite notorious in their day, although most people, when they saw them, just thought they were a bit silly, funny glam guys with long hair and bad makeup and crazy outfits. But I mean, these guys were extremely professional musicians that struggled for 10 years playing the circuit around New York, no one taking them seriously, giving them any recognition. And, they were a huge band. They drew they played about 4 or 5 nights a week, draw like 5,000 people. It was crazy. You just didn't realize that this was actually happening. So it took them about 10 years to get a record deal. Um, all this time, and this documentary takes you through that entire process, interview with all the members and people who were there at the time, the club owners, and just yeah, it's a very 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 cool doc. Especially, I mean, for bands, when people start a band, they have certain expectations, but this is very cool for someone who is in a band or who wants to start a band to check out, see what it can take and what it does take, and it can get quite dicey.
Yeah.
Another cool one is Monster Man, on the band Lordi. It's the band from Finland that won the Eurovision Song Contest. Guys dressed up kind of like a monster kind of a character. So this documentary takes us through that rise and fall, because just shortly after that big win at the Eurovision contest, the country honored them and everyone went crazy, and then they just sort of gave them the cold shoulder very shortly afterwards.
Wow.
It was a bit of a fad for a short term, and they opened like a theme restaurant, toured the world, and then all of a sudden it just crashed down. And they're in debt with hundreds of thousands of euros. The record company doesn't know if they want to take the chance to release another album. A band member dies, a band member leaves. It's a hectic, a
Wow.
hectic tale, true real life tale of struggling to do your music, and this guy entirely lives for it. I mean, he is this character, and it's just such a cool docu to watch. Then I chatted with John Savage. We're going to include Stone Cold Jane Austen.
Oh, nice.
The,
That's great.
the
Yeah.
people who missed it in the cinema, they can pop around to check it out, and they'll be there to chat to the audience before and or afterwards. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I mean, I guess everyone knows about that. It's about guys who want to start a band doing Afrikaans music and they can't speak Afrikaans to kind of get on the bandwagon of the success of that genre. Um, let's see. Van Piano Man Walls, The Spirit of R&B. That's a very, very interesting documentary on a pioneer of R&B, a piano player, and he's like in the business for 65 years. And this takes you through his last recording that he's done, and just the history of the genre and him and his music, with guys like Ry Cooder and Dr. John, in the documentary. It's for people into that genre of music. It's highly recommended to go see. And the director might fly in from Canada. Just depends on
Nice.
funding and all this kind of stuff. So hopefully he'll be here to chat about the movie as well. Um, Another different kind of music documentary is Eccentric Eclectic. It's about this music festival in Canada, but it's not exactly a music festival. It's more a sound and sound art festival. It's just, I mean, conventional music does play a part, but it's all kinds of experimentation. Guys that create music with light, lamps that activate stuff. Uh, Guys that take, old old cassette magnetic strips. They strip it across a table. They put the tape head on the bottom of a little car. So then you ride it across, and you've got all different types of genres spread together. So you get all these weird sounds coming out, and it's a very, very interesting festival. Something like that. I don't know if it'll go down here because it's quite off center, but you just see these people creating these strange and interesting things with sound, and it's out in nature. So it's not exactly like a hippie festival, but I guess some of the people are kind of hippie-ish. But it's quite a far out experience, and so this docu takes you through the whole process there, and meet the characters, and the people creating the music is often as odd as the people attending the festival. So you get to see some very cool stuff there. What else is there? Art's Not Dead. You might be able to tell us about that.
Yeah, Art's Not Dead was a documentary video film that was made in 2011 already, and it only has ever had one screening here in Cape Town, and yeah, a Sound on Screen has been gracious enough to say, yeah, we can, we can have another screening there. It's about a local musician who decided at that point in time he was going to retire. So what the film does, it goes around all his friends and bandmates. He was playing in a number of bands at the time, and just gets a whole bunch of impressions about what this means for them, but also their impressions about what life is like working in particularly the rock music scene here in Cape Town. It's interesting insight, and I felt that this was going to be an interesting one because 4 years later, do they still feel the same way, or do people feel the points they make are in fact relevant still? So that might be interesting. There'll be a lot of local faces for Cape Town people, so it might be interesting to see them up on the big screen talking very candidly about the scene they play in.
Yeah, and we definitely want to see how many of you guys we can pull in there to catch up on what's happened between then and now, and
Yeah,
who's still
indeed.
making music and who's not, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
We're going to try to get Art, the subject in question, Art's Not Dead. We're trying to get him out there to maybe talk about what's happened since then, and if he
Mm.
still feels the same way and this type of thing. But yeah,
No, that would be cool.
we'll see how that goes. It is called the Sound on Screen Music Film Festival. It happens on the weekend of the 31st of July to the 2nd of August. Is that right, Paul?
Yep, that's right.
At the LABIA Theatre in Cape Town, and in Johannesburg it will be at
At the Bioscope
the Bioscope Theatre in
in Newtown.
Newtown in Johannesburg.
I think it's Fox Street.
Paul, are you still sane in respect of trying to organize all these things? Respect of
Sane.
yes,
I
are
don't
you?
think I've ever been sane. That's why I do. I mean, because it's yeah, it's sometimes it gives you well, not sleepless nights, but just to get stuff, and then people agree to do it, but then you're still waiting for the movie to arrive, or the download link doesn't work. So it's sometimes a bit stressful if it's a few days before the festival and you're still waiting for the movie to arrive, or if the
Yeah,
courier didn't bring it, or if they sent it via regular mail, and then you're never going to see it. But also, I mean, with the case with actually, well, two movies, I don't want to mention the titles, but the two movies we wanted to incorporate in the festival, which if they still get back to us, we will. I mean, we were chatting with them. It's two separate movies, two separate producers, directors, but kind of reputed people. So I mean, we were chatting with them, and they were keen, and then all of a sudden they just stopped replying.
oh,
So I'm thinking like, what the hell, you said you're keen, so now why are you just not replying? It's not like I'm a girlfriend you're trying to get rid of, or offend me if you say you've changed your mind. So yeah, it's kind of you don't really know how to react to that, because after the fifth email, you kind of just say, all right, don't worry
yeah,
about it.
yeah,
You don't want to tell
exactly.
someone, don't be so unprofessional. I'm sure you'll get a reply then, but then you don't want to burn bridges either, because it's difficult sometimes. But no, we have to do it because we want to do it and we need to do it.
So, if people want to find out a little bit more, where will they be able to eventually go and find the schedule and the
Um,
full
they can
list?
they can go to flamedrop.com/SOS for Sound on Screen.
Yeah.
And also on Facebook, our page is Sound on Screen Music Film Festival.
Fantastic.
And tickets, this weekend we should be activating tickets on quicket.co.za.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for that, and we'll post a link on this very article when that happens. Thanks very
Cool, man.
much, Paul, for your time today.
Thanks.
It sounds very exciting, but
Cool, man. We'll see you there.
we'll see you there as well. Thanks, Paul.
Cheers, man.
You have been listening to the Oracle Podcast, brought to you by Ori Consulting, www.oriconsulting.co.za.